Trainer Todd Pletcher took the blinkers off. You're to blame at Saratoga. He has responded with back-to-back wins and is the co-high weight in the Temperance Hill Invitational. Newspaper of record, graduated with authority in a sparkling debut, and she jumps right into graded stakes competition in today's Miss Grillo. Among her foes in the Grade 2 races, the undefeated Miss Technicality, who scored at first asking right here at Belmont Park before unleashing a tremendous kick in winning the Juvenile Filly Stakes at Kentucky Downs. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Belmont Park Live, brought to you by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. It is a picture-perfect afternoon here in Elmont, New York. The track is fast, and we are here for an outstanding program. We have the Naira Bets Late Pick 5 coming your way right now. I'm Frank Miramati, joined by Paul LaDuca, longtime catcher, of course, and great batter as well, I might add, for the New York Mets and Los Angeles Dodgers, and of course the New York Racing Association's Andy Serling. Gentlemen, how do you feel on this Sunday? Big day yesterday.
Yeah, it was a giant day yesterday, so there's no letdown today. I thought it was a very good card, and we got good 4 races. We'll have the late pick 5 for you, too.
I agree. On the turf, all the scheduled race in the show will be on the turf, including the Stake, the Pilgrim, and no question about it, newspaper of the record is the one to beat. We know she can handle a turf with give. Now, this will be on the inner turf course today, which is listed as good, but there's plenty of give, and she got it in Saratoga. She was billed to be the goods, and man, was she ever. Now, when you win by big margins, it's also something to do with the horses behind you, but she delivered a big way, and she is the one to beat for Chad Brown, who's had an awful lot of success in today's Miss Rio. Yeah,
I mean, she was just tremendous, and this stamps her. If she wins this race, you're going to see her, I would think, in the Breeders' Cup at Churchill Downs. So, yeah, big race here at race 9, number 9. I think there's a contentious field because there's a couple other fillies in there that can maybe give her a run for her money.
Including another trained by Chad Brown. We'll get to that. But first, let's talk about how you can wager. And you can do so by getting involved with the Naira Bets promo sign-up bonus. That's right, bet Belmont Park and 200 other tracks nationwide with a Naira Bets account. Free to sign up. Enter the promo code Belmont Live for a Bet 200, Get 200 member bonus. Visit NairaBets.com or download the Naira Bets app to start earning that $200 new member bonus today. We start things off with the beginning of the Naira Bets Pick 5, and it starts right here with race number 6. But first, let's take a look at the conditions of today's program. The track is listed as fast, and the turf course good for races 6 and 9. And there we talk about the conditions, brought to you by Piranha Fly Spray, the preferred fly spray of Belmont Park. Piranha on, pests gone. Let's get right to Maggie, who is in the paddock. Of course, that is Maggie Wolfendale, part of our team.
Thanks, Frank. And horses are heading out with riders up here for today's 6th race. And we'll check in with the inside runner. That is number 1 in here, Century, who comes off the back of a starter allowance win. But I feel like he may have moved forward from that. I remember that day up in Saratoga. He was strutting his stuff. He was really feeling good and looked better than ever, too. And same thing can be said here at Belmont. And I was kind of concerned maybe it was just a factor of Saratoga and all the hubbubaloo that goes on, but he is on it here once again, and maybe Century for Shug McGahee is turning the proverbial corner, figuring out how to be a racehorse. Breaking his maiden last time was number 4, Winter Union, in here for Mike Matz, and he definitely looks like a horse that the longer he goes, the better. Actually cutting back a 1/4 of a mile here today, and he looks sensational, but I do call into question the overall quality of the field that he beat in that maiden special weight at Saratoga. Number 7 is Gauguin, and you may be concerned about the softer going here after not handling a bog last time out whatsoever, virtually being ease. And the blinkers do come off and being a little bit rank, honestly, in that race as well. Now, it's a good thing that this is on the inner turf course, as it's much drier than the outer, which is listed as good here today. And guys, as I throw it back to you, I was out on the turf courses yesterday, and the Widener, as the next race is on it, it almost sounded like they were squishing up water still. So it's a good thing for Gauguin that this one is on the inner.
Thank you very much, Maggie. Of course, we'll be visiting with Maggie throughout the afternoon. The horses getting ready to head onto the track for today's 6th race, Andy?
Well, also with Gauguin, and Maggie's absolutely right, the horse not handling the bog, and that was a very boggy course. He also got involved in a ridiculous pace duel in that race. I think with the entry mate just going after him, so that was a combination of factors.
It was crazy that day. Maybe the blinkers are going off because the better races were there, but they're making the switch now, and I think it's the right switch.
No better switch in any equipment, in my opinion, than blinkers off when it comes from great trainers. Let's talk about the field. It starts with number 1, Century, for Shug McGahee.
Horse has won 2 straight, arguably against, not won 2 straight, I'm sorry, run well in 2 straight races, arguably against lesser competition, but lost to Carrick back, who's not too bad, and I think has a chance to step forward as the 3rd choice.
Give you an idea of the wagering here. The longest shot on the board is right here at 7-1, Mathematician.
Only win, I should say, with the quotations was by DQ. This is a horse that's had trouble sealing the deal, at least on the racetrack. The
very well-bred West Winter Union is out of a mare named Winter View, who was a very nice performer herself.
Yeah, she really was. And this gelding has gotten better as the races have gotten longer, and as the races, he's gotten more experience, which usually happens with the Michael Matz runners. And even though the scratch, obviously the main track only, getting played at the window.
Second start following the maiden victory for number 5, Captain Hardship.
You will appreciate getting at least firmer turf than the soft turf last time out, and 2 back ran well enough to be a factor.
Number 6 is High Promise, taking some play right now at odds of 4-1, despite being lower on the morning lines, one of the major contenders.
Yeah, this horse, did drop in for the tag for maiden 75, but then got a longer race at Saratoga. Got a little give in the ground, too, so that might help him.
And as we've mentioned already, draw a line through the last performance of Gauguin.
Yeah, the problem with Gauguin is not the last race, to be honest. The problem with Gauguin is that he's 1 for 15 with 4 seconds and 6/3, and he's been an awfully short price in a lot of races. He kind of runs to his competition and has trouble sealing the deal.
Naira Bet's late pick 5 is going to begin right now, and I know that Paul LaDuca has put together a ticket for this Naira Bet's late pick 5. You need to go to nairabets.com in order to get involved. Bet all the racing action right from your home. Put in that promo code Belmont Live for that extra $200. Paul, how do you see the pick 5 sequence?
Well, I was going to go 1, 4, 6, 7, trying to get into the last 4, 6, 7, 8. 2 and 5, War Story, You're to Blame. I'm not going to try to go out of the box in race number 9 either with Newspaper of Record and Miss Technicality. I like the 8 a lot in the last, Radiant Beauty. I think a horse that might be able to get to the front end. There is some other pace in there, but I do like the streak that Rudy Rod is on, and this is a horse that does have a decent race over a yielding racetrack at Aqueduct. So I singled the 8 in the last.
Looks like a $32 ticket that is available for you. Let's take a look at number 7, Gauguin, and we're going to see this 5-year-old's performance right here at Belmont Park. It was on July the 7th, and it was a heartbreaking loss to a horse who knows how to win.
Yeah, I mean, on the surface of things, you just take this race. I mean, lost to a horse named Red Knight who came back and won at Saratoga against tougher horses and would be odds-on in this race, and justifiably so. The problem is the other races that Gauguin has run where he's had similar situations where he looked at races 1 and he's lost to horses over and over again. And these are the kind of horses we talk about quite often. Good enough to win, but they seem to have trouble finding the finish line first.
Yeah, you're right. Winning effort right there, Paul, but not good enough when Red Knight, who's been involved in photos throughout his career, got him.
Yeah, it's a tough beat, right? His lone win was in Munich, Germany, 10 cents on the dollar.
You know that day, Paul?
That worries me a little bit. And listen, if you're going to take 5-2 on him as your favorite, he's really 0 for 15. I mean, who could have been in that field in Munich for him to win by 7? Since he's been here, listen, he's run some great races, but Andy makes a tremendous point. They've tried blinkers, Lasix, everything. He keeps running second, and then he comes off his worst effort. But you draw a line through that race. He's going to run a different race today, and he's got a Hall of Fame trainer, like you said, in Belmont.
It's very strange to see a race where no horses yet at double digits. Here's number 6, High Promise, a 4-year-old who's 1 for 11, very honest gray, has been in the money 6 times thus far.
He seems to be a horse that relishes more distance. If you look at his 1.25 mile race last year, it was actually arguably his best effort to date, till his maiden win. Then when they stretched him out to a route again of 1 3/8 at Saratoga, he easily got the job done and beat a horse named Course Correction, who came back last weekend and won, improving his buyer speed figure 4 points. Last time out, he actually ran credibly, but he was only going a mile, and he lost to 2 better horses than these. The distance is the great equalizer. He will be second choice in all likelihood by post time, and arguably he should be.
High Promise, currently 4-1. We'll take a look next at Captain Hardship for Graham Motion. And Captain Hardship, coming off a 4th place effort, he's been freshened out of his last couple of starts.
1 for 12 lifetime. He lost 70 cents on the dollar at Laurel. That worries me in a maiden special weight field on a race to 7. He did win here at Belmont going a mile 3/8, so maybe the longer distance will help. But I don't know if he's good enough to beat this field, the son of Lonhro. He's going to have to improve a lot to against some of these other horses.
I agree with Paul.
Who do you like, Andy?
I picked the one horse in this race, Century, not because I necessarily think he's the absolute likeliest winner, more because I think between Century, High Promise, and Gauguin, it's a high likelihood that one of these 3 horses will win. And I believe, and I think I'll be correct by post time, that he'll be the biggest price of those 3. That was really why I took him, more about price, but I think it's a wide open race between those 3 at least.
Horse who certainly likes the long distance. He's actually turning back today is number 4, Winter Union. He's certainly bred to enjoy the furthest possible level of real estate. What do you make of his chances?
Well, he's the interesting horse, right? He's gotten better as he's gotten longer, but he was in for 52. And who did he really beat last time out? Now Castellano gets aboard as Jose Ortiz just doesn't ride anybody in here. So I don't know what to make of him. I don't know if that number was inflated. I just don't know. You know, he was pinched at the start. It wasn't that bad. He got right back into the race, and he was right up on the lead.
I thought this was a much tougher field than the one
Oh,
he
it's
beat
going to be a
last
lot
time.
tougher.
I think he'd have to improve dramatically off of that win to win here.
Let's go down to Maggie Wolfendale to talk Gauguin and High Promise. Maggie?
Well, guys, you brought up the record of Gauguin, as he just seems to continuously find ways to lose races. And you look at those races and you see that it feels as though he waits on other horses. He'll hit the lead and then he just waits for somebody to come back by him. But he's also one that in the early stages of the race has that target. So it may seem counterintuitive in me saying this, but I'm wondering if, since he was kind of ranked last time, and I know the blinkers do go off, but he did get a solo warm-up from Johnny V, they actually go to the lead with him in that he doesn't have to worry about passing other horses, and maybe he gets brave out there because he does strike me as a horse who is somewhat on the insecure side. He's one that walks into the paddock and wants to nicker to everybody, and just one that kind of needs his friends, and sometimes horses like that will get a little bit more brave out in the front end. I don't know what their plan is, but there's certainly no clear-cut speed horse in here, and he does feel as though the one that may have the most early pace. Number 6 is High Promise, a horse who will benefit from the given course condition, listed as good, and he's one I liked last time, and arguably Dr. Edgar was a horse who'd been knocking on the door and had vastly improved for Barkley Tag. And 2, Morrison is a very good, still young New York bred for Joe Sharp. I'm almost apt to say, guys, that field was a bit better than what High Promise catches here today, and why can't he step forward?
Pool approaching 100,000 in the Naira Bets late pick 5. Andy, your thoughts on the race?
You know, I just want to say what Maggie said. I agree with Maggie in principle, the concept of horses that fail to get up, putting them on the front. Obviously, they're not going to hang because they're in front of horses. The problem is, and anyone could be in front around here, anyone who wants the lead can have the lead because everybody else is always ready to grab. The problem is he's had the lead in races and he's been caught from behind in those races. So it's not as though the kind of horse that doesn't get up, he hangs on horses. Horses have passed him to lose races, so I don't know necessarily that being in front is going to help his chances of getting in the winner's circle.
Moving into line for today's 6, the start of the Naira Bets pick 5. Let's send it up to the voice of New York racing, Larry Comas, for the call.
And here's Captain Hardship moving into the starting gate, to be followed by High Promise, and Gauguin will be the last one. Gauguin just a little uneasy here behind the starting gate. Now steps forward and in, and they're all in line. They're off. Century showing early speed with Mathematician. High Promise is right up there too with Winter Union. Gauguin on the far outside, and Captain Hardship at the back of the pack early on as they make their way for the first turn with Mathematician in front. Prompted by High Promise on the outside into that turn, while Sentry sits right in behind Mathematician. Gauguin goes up on the outside of horses, going by Winter Union to the backstretch. The trailer is Captain Hardship, who's 7 lengths off the lead through an opening quarter mile in 25.47 seconds. So Mathematician heads on to the backstretch, the leader by almost 2. High Promise second. Gauguin is third on the outside. Sentry is fourth and down toward the inside. Then Winter Union, who's 4 from the front. The trailer Captain Hardship. They continue up the backstretch. The half mile, 51.64 seconds, a dawdling pace here with Mathematician setting it 3/4 of a length ahead of High Promise running in second. Gauguin is third on the outside of them. Sentry is fourth, racing 3.5 lengths off the lead and pinned to the rail. Then Winter Union and Captain Hardship at the back of the pack, racing for the far turn. Mathematician's been cruising along so far. High Promise 3/4 of a length behind. 3/4 up in 1:17.02. Then Gauguin on the outside of Sentry, Winter Union, and Captain Hardship on the far outside beginning to pick it up a bit. Mathematician leads the way on the far turn by a length. High Promise continues to track in second. Captain Hardship is coming wide. Gauguin 2, and down on the inside it's Sentry, Winter Union at the back, but not far behind, and they're into the stretch. Mathematician is given way. High Promise has taken the lead. It's High Promise in front. Winter Union trying to close as High Promise drifts. On the outside is Captain Hardship in third. High Promise still there. Winter Union driving through on the inside. It's High Promise, Winter Union, and Captain Hardship. Here's the wire. High Promise did it over Winter Union in a photo finish. Captain Hardship was third. Then it's either Sentry or Gauguin.
High Promise fends off a bold rally from Winter Union, who had a little bit of trouble at the top of the stretch.
Yeah, you know, this is a good ride by Ryder Ortiz Jr. He sort of floated out to go see the 5 because he thought the 5 was a player. He knew he had that horse put away, and then boom, here comes a 4 rolling up on him on the inside, Andy. Then he points his horse towards the 4, and the 4 and the 6 shows some fight.
Kind of an old Angel Cordero move,
Yeah,
right? You're right, as many horses you can in the stretch. And agree, it was a nice ride by High Promise, and he ran well. The 4 also ran very well. Winter Union improved a lot to run well. Only 4-1 on Winter Union. Wow, he took a lot of money. 7-2, a nice price in this horse, and he was sort of in control, but it got closer than it looked like it might.
The paces Larry Colmus mentioned, dawdling, and understandably so. This course has some give in it.
It has a lot of give in it. You know, nobody ever wants to lead. Everybody wants to rate every horse. Just you grow accustomed to it over time.
You really do.
It's hard to close on the inside, but Winter Union did just that. Got to give credit to High Promise for finding that little oomph right in the final 100 yards.
They both had very good trips. I think both these horses had good trips. They got good rides, and you know, maybe out of 6 a little bit better High Promise, but it's pretty darn close.
High Promise starting to figure it out. Two wins the last 3 starts, and maybe, you know, the distance is helping him, but Winter Union's getting better because the longer the better.
But Gauguin, by the way, he must need firmer turf. To be fair, he may really want it firm.
6-4-5-7 posted. We'll take a timeout. When we return, we'll have the prices as the Naira Bets Pick 5 kicks off with a 7-2 winner.
This 3-time Breeders' Stakes winning millionaire defeated 20 Grade 1 winners. In the Dixie Stakes, he defeated Canadian champion and Horse of the Year Up with the Birds and set a new course record at Saratoga. Now the excitement is building as his first foals have arrived this year. Half to 4 graded stakes winners, Ironicus has the speed, class, and bloodlines to become the next great sire by Distorted Humor. Ironicus standing at Claiborne Farm.
Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Welcome back to Belmont Park Live. Here's High Promise in the winner's circle.
Yeah, congratulations to the connections here. Grace Son of Broken Valor, the forestry mare. Heavenly Vision was 0 for 5 with no placings except 3/3 over the Belmont turf course, but not today. $9.20 on top.
Jim and Susan Hill, the winning owners. Brian Lynch, the winning conditioner. Let's go down to Maggie with the winning connections.
And I think High Promise has found his niche here, Brian, as he likes distance. He also likes a bit of give in the ground, too.
Yeah, he certainly, I thought he ran really well. The 1.25 miles right up his alley and probably even a little bit further. I got him to relax beautiful, and he traded some leather down the lane, got a little bit tight there towards the end, but fortunately he come out on top.
And for a horse who kind of took a while to break his maiden, he was ultra game today. Is it him just figuring things out as well?
I really think that's what it is, Maggie, because he was a big rubberneck kid who used to have to sit at the back of the bus, you know. But now he seemed to have worked it out, and he's got very professional, so we're very happy with his progress.
Your analogies are the best, but you also have one in the next race here. Daddy's Melody on the outside. A filly rained off last time, but getting to sprint on the turf for the first time. What do you think about her? I'm quite interested.
Yeah, I mean, she's a pretty enough little filly, and you know, we give her a try on the dirt. Just being a scat daddy the last time, didn't come up the way we wanted it to come up, but hopefully today she shows up for us.
All right, well, wishing you the best of luck. Keep it rolling here. High Promise, congrats, though.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys, High Promise, the gray boy, well, he's getting his groove on here in the latter half of 2018.
He's found it. He's found his game.
Yeah.
And to show that tenacity once Winter Union came to him, I thought was impressive.
He's found his game because he wants to go longer. I mean, this horse is 1.25 miles, 1 3/8 miles, the right distance this horse. If you look at his record, he has run his 3 best career races going long.
Up next, it's race number 7, and the horse that Maggie was talking to Brian about is number 8, Daddy's Melody, taking some early action. Scratch the main track only horse, number 1, Not Sure. We have an interesting first-time starter in here. Andy, your thoughts on the race?
Tapping Colors is the horse to beat, so to speak. Has run the best races, but has lost a lot of races at short prices, and races she should have won, including one where Paul needed her for a score. I actually do like Brian Lynch's horse, Daddy's Melody. We'll talk about that more, but she dueled for the lead in her debut at a pace that collapsed. The horse she dueled with came back to win her next start at Price at Kentucky Downs.
We had a tremendous Super Saturday program. You just watched Imperial Hint cruising in the Vosburg. Discreet Lover pulls off the upset in the Jockey Club Gold Cup. We'll talk about those and much more right after this.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
How do New York breds perform? They win in world-class company. From Grade 1 races in Dubai, where New York-sired, New York bred Mind Your Biscuits won the Golden Shaheen for a second time, to Belmont adding to his status as the richest New York bred with a close second in the Met Mile. The Belmont Festival saw 2 more New York breds become millionaires, 4-star Crook in the New York Stakes, and world record setter Disco Partner with a repeat victory in the Jaipur. New York breds, get with the program.
And Imperial Hint's under a hand ride here. Javier Castellano takes a peek back There's no one coming. Mr. Crow is second. Silver Ride is third on the outside. It's just so easy. So easy for this little rocket ship. Imperial Hint.
Just hands and heels. In fact, eased up at the line.
Yeah, I was, this is the way I needed to win for be 1-9 or 1-5. I'm just happy and very, very amazed that this little horse has been running.
Coming into the final furlong. Some Like It Hot Brown still there. 40 under now ranges up alongside. And Manny Franco and 40 under have taken the lead in late stretch. And 40 under takes the Pilgrim.
Training for the coach. I mean, Bill Parcells, and to have success for him, how meaningful is that and how cool?
I can't wait to get on the phone after this race and tell him this is what he's in here for, to try to win these type of races. He puts a lot into it. He's out there every day. I'm very excited for him.
Channel Maker keeps on finding on the inside. Robert Bruce made a failed run at him. And Channel Maker is going to win. Here comes the finish. It is going to be a photo finish. And I think it was Discreet Lover. Manny Franco waves his whip in victory.
Let him relax. Let him be comfortable.
Take back, make one run. When he comes flying, we know he comes flying. And I'm like, God, please, the wire don't come so quick. And the wire came right when we wanted it to come.
I love him! He is such an awesome horse! That little dynamo!
He's a great one winner! He's a great one winner!
I'm just so proud. I'm so proud of this horse. He tries so hard all the time. He deserves it. He deserves this. My father deserves this. He works so hard. I'm so happy! Oh my goodness, I am so happy! I am so happy. I didn't know how it was going to turn out.
Manny Franco!
All I want to do, I'm going to go cash my ticket.
Outstanding capturing of the drama and emotion yesterday as Discreet Lover wins the very prestigious Grade 1 Jockey Club Gold Cup.
That might have been my favorite thing we've seen on the entire show all year, that raw emotion, and great to see that. It's nice to see that that just, you see so many different owners winning games and winning races and big races, and I think it's really cool.
Sometimes when owners win big races, it's like, oh, okay, we're happy. It's really neat. It's not that, and that was really cool to watch.
That was wonderful.
Yeah.
That was quite a performance. You just saw the Breeders' Cup win in your in schedule and the qualifiers. Let's go back and take a look at this Jockey Club Gold Cup, guys.
Let's do that, Frank.
Here's the start, and you're watching the two that'll go out. Diversify, of course, showing his customary speed. And talk about customary, he went 6 furlongs in 109 flat.
Yeah, Mendelssohn really just came out running faster. It's not that anybody got left, but Mendelssohn was just a little sharper out of the gate. But Irad did what he had to do. I think people that are criticizing Irad for going too fast are red boarding, and they're wrong and they're unfair. This is the way this horse has been ridden, but Mendelssohn kept after him. He never got comfortable, Paul.
I'll tell you what, the two most aggressive riders in this race, obviously besides Irad, were the two European riders, Christophe Simon and Ryan Moore. Simon, he pushed on Thunder Snow out of the gate to get him in position, and I thought he gave him a great ride. He just got run down by Manny Franco and Discreet Lover. And here's a horse that had been running 3rd and 4th, and he made too early of a move. They tried to actually put him into the race a little bit too early in the Woodward. He said they wanted to lay back, which it finally happened. He finally got the perfect setup.
Here's what you do. You run a horse like the winner of this race, Discreet Lover, who has been delivering consistently over the last 6+ months and running well. And getting better with every race. As you say, too close to the Woodward. Okay, they made a mistake, fine. You learn from it. You drop back and you think, I'd love to get 3rd or 4th in this race, 2nd, get a check. It's a big purse race, a prestigious race. And who knows, when you ride them like that, you might get a little lucky if things fall apart. And if a horse like this, who's good enough to get a piece, gets the right situation, he can win. And that was terrific result.
And he owns the horse, too.
Yep.
He gets all the cheese, and he also that'll pay for some of the gas on the trip home. He brought that boy all the way over here, and he was taking him back. And there was also activity, of course, on the West Coast with Santa Anita kicking off, and they had a big race as well. The Awesome Again Grade 1 event, and it brought out a heavy favorite in Accelerate as well as the Bob Baffert-trained West Coast?
I'll say a number of things. Obviously, the New York bred and the New York horse, Diversify, he failed his test, and he is extremely shaky going towards the Breeders' Cup. Now, Accelerate has been absolutely terrific this year. This was not a particularly good effort. It was a slow race. It got a 100-buyer speed figure. He was workmanlike getting it done. I don't think West Coast ran particularly well based on what he's been capable of doing in the past. Considering Accelerate's trainer John Sadler has not had a lot of success shipping horses out of California, and that's being kind, I'm a little bit skeptical of these horses as well heading to the Breeders' Cup. And I think this Breeders' Cup Classic is as wide open a one as we've seen in a long time.
There you see Accelerate.
I don't know what to make with the race, because if you go back and you look at it, West Coast's ears were pinned back. He didn't look like he wanted to run on that rail at all.
He was coming off quite a break. Then we go to Churchill Downs for the Lucas Classic Grade 3 event. We've always thought of Mind Your Biscuits as an outstanding sprinter. He proved otherwise at Saratoga, and look at this point.
Listen, of the big three, this was the most impressive victory,
good.
you know, as compared to Accelerate's win, and it was on the Churchill Downs racetrack. Now, whether he's going to be as effective a mile and a quarter, I don't know. He's passed every other test, so why can't he go a mile and a quarter? This was a very nice win. I don't particularly like the field behind him in here, but it came up a fast race, and of the big three that we've seen, this would be the one that you would say just objectively was the most impressive.
Yeah, and he's also been a horse he needs to get acclimated to where he's been. So I thought that was a good move by Chad Summers having him down there and get him a race over the track. You know,
kudos to the connections for testing this horse at further distances. He's already proven what a tremendous sprinter he is. For him to do this horse's value and just his whole legacy.
But they've sold his breeding rights. They're only going to participate in the money won in stake races. So in reality, if he wins the Classic, they made a deal to sell him a stud, and it sort of backfires on them. Obviously, it's a very big purse, that race, but they've got nothing to gain other than the purses. It is what it is. I'm not being critical. It just is what it is. But
I have a feeling he'll get some of the. I have a feeling he'll get some of the progeny down the road as well to maybe.
But that doesn't. He's going to Japan, Frank.
Yeah, but you just never know what could end up happening with these studs. You never know.
You never know.
You never know. We've seen some returns here, i.e. Empire Maker. Let's go down to Maggie in the paddock.
He went over there.
Thanks, Frank. And we'll begin by talking about two somewhat lightly raced fillies who actually kind of have the same look, at least on paper. And we'll begin with Shug McGahee's number 6 in here. That is Cover Model, as she ran okay, actually, on the main track, as her pedigree would suggest she could do. And I will say, though, physically, she honestly looks more inclined to be a turf horse. And I like the fact that Shug keeps her sprinting, because she also looks like a sprinter. And while her first race came on a yielding course, and she's getting the same thing here once again, if not even softer, just kind of based upon what I observed, at least from this Widener course yesterday. And I mean, yes, it could have dried out a bit here, but it's not like it's dried that much. We're getting into the latter half in fall season, so they don't dry out as quickly this time of year as they do in the summer. But still, I think it was a factor of needing a race and being a bit green. She was a bit green in the preliminaries as well, Cover Model, going into that August 19th effort. And I think she could build upon that, and she's on the right surface and condition here today. Now, number 8 is Daddy's Melody, and I like this filly. She's getting back to the turf. She has a massive turf hoof to her. She's much more of a sprinter, so her lone turf start was going longer, where she kind of stopped badly after hitting the lead prematurely. And she's small, she's compact, she is of a sprinting frame, and I think that she deserves a legitimate shot here if she can handle a course with Given It. Now, making her first start of her career is number 3, Hot Liaison, a daughter of Liaison. We don't get to see many of these, but of the ones I know, they do prefer the turf, and she looks like a turf sprinter. I mean, just all of her physical makeup, she looks much like Cover Model in here and Daddy's Melody. We'll see. Fitness-wise, I can't fault her too much here overall, and she's been nice, calm, and focused. Still, might need to develop, and with that race, she might be able to have the chance to do so. Frank?
Thank you very much, Maggie. Of course, Maggie's paddock reports are brought to you by our friends at Hillendale Farm, standing Curlin for $150,000. Here's a look at Newspaper of Record. She was playing around, and she crushed the competition in her debut a little over a month ago. Is she up to the task? We'll find out when we return.
Grade 1 winner Lee traveled the world competing against the best of his generation. A graded stakes winner on both dirt and turf, he set a new track record in the Grade 1 Don Handicap. and retired with earnings of more than $2.3 million. Now his flashy first crop yearlings are turning heads with a striking resemblance to their internationally successful sire. The sky's the limit for this promising young stallion, Lee, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Welcome back to Belmont Park Live. A $200 bonus can be yours to bet any track, anywhere, anytime, including all the races on our show today with a NYRA Bets account. Getting started is easy. Just be sure to enter the promo code Belmont Live to earn that $200 bonus. Visit NYRABets.com for details or download the app. NYRA Bets, it's just such a smooth operation. And very easy to make your deposits, very easy to make your withdrawals. They show up about 5 a.m. in your bank account, all warm and fuzzy, right before your cup of coffee, Paul.
That is true. That's very true. And it makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside. The best part about it is you can watch replays on it.
Yeah.
That's the key part.
Any racetrack. Every racetrack.
Every
Love that.
racetrack, yes. And whether you're on the train, whether you get some service, you got it.
Sometimes if you're on the set.
Yeah, true.
Been known
you want to freshen up on some details. But here's the thing. The way you do it is so easy. You have the program page in front of you. You just click on the horse's name, and it'll give you their last races.
Or any races you want. Yeah, there's so many ways to look.
Right.
Yeah.
There are ways you could go into the archives, but it's easy to just get the most recent starts of a horse right away.
I agree. Great addition.
Post-parade time for this afternoon's 7th race. The distance 6 furlongs on the grass. Scratch the 1. We will kick off the post-parade with number 2, Valentine's Romance.
Yes, the horse 15-1 first time out, then 45-1. Has not shown much and needs to improve today.
Did come out of a race that was pretty productive. 6th and 7th place finishers came back to graduate at Woodbine and Kentucky Downs. The first-time starter, Andy, is the 3 Hot Liaison.
Not much pedigree to speak on for turf for this first-time starter is taking no money.
Did get sold for 20 times the stud fee. Here's the 4, her latest film out of that brilliant mare, Filmmaker, who earned over $2 million.
Yeah, you wonder why she can't go long, considering Filmmaker wanted to go long out of the war front, obviously. So maybe there's some kind of breathing issue here, and it seems like she runs the same race each time.
The 5 is My Sister's Keeper for Mike Deeney.
She's just run turf sprints against cheaper horses and feels like she's meeting tougher.
Here's the 6 cover model. Speaking of beautiful breeding, Warfront out of Daydreaming.
Yeah, she's well bred. You're right. And she was giant first time out. Then off the turf event, she didn't disgrace herself on the dirt. I thought it was an okay race.
Siblings include Imagining, who won, of course, many races, including the Man of War.
Calling him long distances.
What a nice animal he was. Tapping Colors is next, 8 to 5, right about the morning line, which was 7-5.
The Gauguin of this field has had plenty of chances, including one our friend Paula Duca needed for a lot of money when she had a dream trip and could knock it up.
And I know Andy likes this horse, 8, Daddy's Melody, a little bit. Paul, your thoughts?
I can see it too. Yeah, you got Lasix last time. This horse doesn't want anything but dirt. This is an Ontario bred. First time out, showed surprising speed, and I think the cutback to 6 furlongs is only going to help.
She's the most experienced member of the field. The 5-year-old Tapping Colors is getting plenty of support. Will the 9th time be the charm? We'll find out when we return on Belmont Park Live.
Turning for home in front. Coast of New York on the outside. California Chrome is third. Shared Belief laboring back to in fifth. 1 furlong to run. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome on the outside. The 3 of them come to the wire. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome. Here's the finish. Bayern holds on.
Welcome back to Belmont Park Live, presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. There's number 8, Daddy's Melody, and all of you have made a case for this filly, and the jockey, Manny Franco, is 3 away from 1,000. One of the jockeys approaching some significant milestones, Andy.
I like that picture of Johnny. He's so stoic in that. It looks like a wax museum picture, doesn't it?
It's unreal, isn't it?
It's a funny picture.
If you take a quick glance and look back, there's a resemblance to Aaron Grider, which I've never seen before. When you got to make a real quick peek, because when you see him in person, they don't look at all alike.
I was talking to Louis Saez about his picture. He's like, yeah, that's my boxing photo.
Good guy.
Let's talk about Daddy's Melody. Andy, this is a horse that I know you're very enamored with. And look, she showed a lot of speed in her debut going long. Now she's back to the grass, and Brian likes her chances too.
This is my kind of play. I mean, whether they work out or not, where you talk about a horse that ran against Dynamics in his debut, that pace just completely incinerated. And if you look at the early pace relative to the final time, A, it's hard to believe the turf was firm, and B, it's clear the pace was too fast for the horses. The race collapsed. The other horse that was engaged in the pace duel won its next start at Kentucky Downs. Daddy's Melody, I like that cutback. And as you said, Paul, first time on the turf with Lasix. There's a lot of things to like about this horse.
There really is. And you know what? They're running at Woodbine right now. This is an Ontario bred. So, you know, Brian could bring that horse up there, run her up there in some state bred races, obviously, or in Ontario bred races. So he leaves her here to give her a shot around one turn. So I think she could be live in here.
Maggie Wolfendale, it hasn't been too long since she became a mom. No surprise she wants to talk about the 2 best broodmares in this race.
Very, very true. And both by Warfront. Isn't that ironic, Frank? As her latest film caught up with trainer Mark Hennig, and he was not thrilled about the turf condition for her. And like I said, the Widener is a lot wetter, as the listing would indicate, you know, yielding over good between the two courses. And, you know, her last race came on a yielding course. It was not her best effort. And that's because she is that heavier type. Now, it also could be concerning for number 6 Cover Model too, given that she is a Warfront, and they, for me at least, I think they do prefer a little bit more of a firmer course overall. But boy, Cover Model looks sensational in her warm-up, just kind of bounding along beneath Joelle Rosario. Just really had a nice bounce to her stride here, Frank.
She has the look of class indeed, and she's certainly bred. She's getting some money too, and I think it's smart money, 5-2, as we look at the favorite, Tapping Colors, who is going into the gate at 8-5 right now. Andy, your final thoughts?
You're supposed to bet against horses like Tapping Colors. She can absolutely win. She's run plenty of races that are just flat out better, and sometimes these horses find their fields, but she's a horse that's had her chances.
Let's send it up to Larry Colmus. He's the voice of the Triple Crown, and he's going to call some beautifully bred runners in today's 7th.
Daddy's Melody coming up to the outside stall here will be the last to go in to the starting gate. And they're all in line. They're off. Her latest film bounced out of there well. Tapping Colors and Daddy's Melody up and on the pace. My Sister's Keeper is rushing through between horses to battle for the lead up the backstretch. Then Valentine's Romance, Hot Liaison, and Cover Model is the trailer. So up the backstretch they go, and it is Daddy's Melody on top by a length and a half. My Sister's Keeper is running in second. Her latest film third on the inside. Tapping Colors fourth by 2.5. Then Valentine's Romance, followed by Hot Liaison. Cover Model is 7 lengths off the lead after 23:02 opening quarter mile. They make their way around the far turn. Daddy's Melody on top just a half length. On the outside is Tapping Colors pressing the pace second by 2. My Sister's Keeper is third. Her latest film fourth. Cover Model is coming up on the outside, but still about 6 lengths behind and being asked to go at the top of the stretch. It is Tapping Colors on the outside to the front. 46.53 the half. Daddy's Melody tries to hang in there. 2.5 to her latest film. Cover Model is fourth. Coming down to the last 16th, and it is Tapping Colors. Tapping Colors, the leader from her latest film, who's closing. Tapping Colors, her latest film. Tapping Colors holds on. Her latest film was second, then Daddy's Melody and Cover Model.
Tapping Colors graduates, fending off the challenge of her latest film, who certainly ran well in defeat.
She did, but I think we talked about it beforehand. Sometimes you just find a field you're a little bit better than, and she was able to stalk my horse, Daddy's Melody, who had every chance in the world racing the best part of the track. She's just not that good, and I think Tapping Colors was just the best horse today, Paul.
Yeah, if you look at the 7 and the 4 here, these are two horses you would normally play against. They've had their chances, but you're right. They found a field that they could beat, and they beat them by a lot, which is crazy. Nobody else ran. Cover Model ran a little bit late, but
I don't think Cover Model's much worse.
There's not much in here.
You can always use the given the ground as an excuse, possible excuse going forward, but I don't know if these horses are that good.
Double for Eric Cancel, by the way.
That's 2 for Eric Cancel. He did everything right here. He put her in the right spot, and she was good enough to win. He sat right behind Daddy's Melody, pounced on her, fended off the 4, her latest film. It's 7-4, 8-6, 6-5, the final price, and over $375,000 was bet into that late pick 4 as well. So lots of action up for grabs here as we get ready for our 2 big events. The Temperance Hill is next, and then the Miss Grillo coming up in about an hour. You are watching Belmont Park Live. Stay with us.
Mastery retired undefeated, winning his 4 starts by a combined 20 lengths. A 6-figure September sale purchase, he won impressively in his 2-year-old debut at Santa Anita. From there, he captured the Grade 3 Bob Hope Stakes and completed his juvenile campaign with a dominant performance in the Grade 1 Los Alamitos Futurity. At 3, the top-rated son of Candy Ride sizzled in the San Felipe, running a 105 buyer and winning by open lengths. Mastery, new for 2018 at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NyraBets.com.
The 5-year-old mare, Tapping Colors, takes care of business in this afternoon's 7th race, much to the delight of most people who bet on the race. So she was a 6-5 favorite.
Yeah, I'm wondering how she's going to play as a 6-5 favorite, but a mare by Tappet out of Mr. Greeley mare, Silver Colors, Whisper Hero Farms. 5 years old. They probably didn't want to wait this long to get her maiden broken, but she got it done. Maybe she's going to get a little confidence out of this race.
And now let's go back down to Maggie with the assistant trainer for Tapping Colors.
That's right, here with Heather Smullen, who's been a longtime assistant for Ralph Nix. And Tapping Colors, Heather, after 3 consecutive seconds sprinting on the turf, she gets it done here.
Finally, yeah. She deserved it. In the spring, it was really hard and fast. And then when we went to Saratoga, it turned really boggy up there. It was yielding today, but at least she could still, Eric timed it right. He rode her well. She's not the easiest horse in the world to ride, so he did a very good job with her.
Is she a horse that kind of waits on others?
She doesn't like to be hit. And on top of not liking to be hit, yeah, she sort of wants to look around a little bit and squiggle, and he's done a really good job keeping her straight and getting her to finish well without having to beat her up.
And Heather, you guys have quite a few horses for owner Mandy Pope, and she's somebody that puts a lot of money and a lot of work into this game. Does winning for her seem a little bit more special?
Yeah, she really deserves it. She's a good person. She does right by the horses 100% of the time, and it's just nice to be able to deal with those type of people.
Well, Heather, good to see you in the winner's circle. Job well done by you.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys, Tapping Colors. That's our second gray on the card too, Frank.
Thank goodness it's not raining, because that's typically what the angle is. And Heather was talking about Mandy Pope. I'll tell you what's a lot of fun about Mandy Pope is to find out which one she wants at the sales, because there is no number that will scare her.
It's usually the one that won the most money in the racetrack.
Right.
Here are the prices. An even 6-5, $440 for the winner, Tapping Colors. Ralph Nix, the winning conditioner. Her latest film finishes second, and she seems to be on the improve. Look, maybe when they stretch her back out, her latest film.
No, she's a sprinter.
No, you can tell she's stalking again.
It is amazing given her pedigree, but she doesn't want to go
But
long.
there's the pick 5 follow along. You got High Promise at 920. Tapping Colors. It's not a bad double. It's not an awful double, so.
It's fine.
No, it's fine. We've been seeing whatever, and then we saw a couple $30 horses the other day, and they paid it out of this world, so you never know.
Got to stay alive.
You got to beat the 5 here, who's going to be a big, heavy favorite.
Up next, it's the Temperance Hill Invitational. I know Andy's got a couple of stories about Temperance Hill up his sleeve.
I rode him early in his career.
He probably could have carried you to victory. He was that good. Scratch number 3, Carlino out of here. It leaves us with a field of 5, and War Story is getting pounded. He's 3-5 right now, and he just lost to You're to Blame. They meet again. They're familiar rivals.
I'm not sure why there's that big a gap in their prices. Looking at multis, it's a pretty significant one. They look like the two horses, unless you think Rocketry is going to somehow improve in the dirt, which I don't find likely.
I'm wondering if War Story really likes it on the front end for too long. It seems like he waits on horses. I'm in agreement with you. I think this is going to get closer in odds.
Naira bets 20 times points for Remington Park. It's Oklahoma Derby Day. Grade 3 event. The distance, of course, is 1 1/8 miles over at Remington, and This is a race that a lot of people are looking forward to.
Well, first of all, we're rooting for our man, Tom Amos. Let's be very clear. We're rooting for Lone Sailor and our buddy Tom Amos, who's done well with him, but he hasn't sealed the deal. I'm rooting for connections to Diamond King to cut him back to sprints one of these days and stop running in these races. I'm betting on First Mondays on the far outside with Paco Lopez for John Service.
And don't forget about Wooderson, the two, who is a half-sister, or half-brother, excuse me, to the great Rachel Alexandra. So he's going to try his hand. He's going to take the blinkers off for Todd Pletcher. This is a very good betting race.
What about Limitation, who out of nowhere just exploded last night? Super, but maybe he liked the moisture in the track. I don't know, but I'm guessing it's not raining in Oklahoma City, but I think anything's possible.
How often do you see Steve Asmussen at 26-1 in a big race like that with a horse that had never been double-digit odds? So it's not as though it was some long shot over and over again.
I'll tell you another one. Axelrod ran a pretty good race, and if you look at the 11 First Mondays, John Service and Paco Lopez ship in for that race too, and that's a place they don't usually ship in. I would think the 11's got a look in there.
Well, that's why I played him. He's a lightly raced horse that seems to be improving. Spent a lot of time on the rail last time, which was probably not that bad at Parks that day, but I think I like him more at the distance than Diamond King, who I think Diamond King's a very good horse, and he might have won the Gallant Bob, but I don't know why his connections insist on running him in one distance race after another.
The mug shots you're looking at, Andy Serling, Paul LaDuca, I'm Frank Miramati. This is Belmont Park Live, and let's take a look at You're to Blame, who is right now on the board at 5-2. He just comes off a very game win in the Greenwood Cup over at Parks. 1 mile and 5/8 is the distance. It's a tricky one.
He's coming into his own, and you could argue that his win last time was at a distance. Maybe he loves the ground.
Or the blinkers off. 2 for 2 with the blinkers off.
Let's take a timeout. We'll talk a lot more about the Temperance Hill, including about his namesake, right after this.
Kentucky Derby winner Orb was the leading freshman sales sire of weanlings, yearlings, and 2-year-olds. On the track, his runners have scored on both dirt and turf, including stakes winners Autumn Warrior and Orvolution, stakes performer Scrapper, and TDN rising star Explorer. In the sales ring, his progeny continue to sell well beyond his stud fee, including the $1 million co-sale topper at Saratoga, classic winner, classic pedigree, or standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're on. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Genuine Risk is second, and Raquel Native third. Temperance Hill in front. Between horses on the outside, Temperance Hill on the rail. It's Rock Hill Native. Those three continue to fight for the lead. Rock Hill Native on the rail has a narrow lead of ahead. Genuine Risk on the outside. Genuine Risk now takes the lead by a nose. Temperance Hill is right there. Temperance Hill now takes the lead. It's Temperance Hill, Arkansas Derby winner, taking the lead, going off by 2. The filly Genuine Risk is second, and Rock Hill Native third. Temperance Hill in front.
What a racehorse he was. Temperance Hill. Andy, we have to go to you because these were those days, the formative years of you being a racing fan.
I was sitting about 3 sections over from where we are actually taping this show right now when he won. He paid $100. I believe his owner, John Ed Anthony, won like $1 zillion on him as the story goes. And it seemed like a fluke. And amazing what Genuine Risk did, winning the Kentucky Derby and then running second in both the Preakness and the Belmont Stakes, and Rock Hill Native finishing third. But Temperance Hill seemed like this fluke, $100, but then he went to Saratoga, and he won the only Travers I've missed since Annihilate him won in 1973. I had to go to college early. I still regret that decision, and I've lived my life trying to overcome that. And then he won the Jockey Club Gold Cup as well and became a champion 3-year-old. He was a wonderful racehorse.
He capped off that great campaign. He made the Super Derby a famous race.
I believe he won the Super Derby
Yes,
also, yeah. All 4 of those big
That was
wins.
how the Super Derby kicked off. Yeah, late in the year, they came up with the
Super
cash.
back then?
And what was that?
Was it Super at that point?
It wasn't Super yet, but he put a stamp on it, and then it became very Super.
It's a mediocre Derby at that point. It got Super later.
That was it. That was the beginning of the Super Derby. And here is the Temperance Hill Invitational, 1 mile and 5/8, fitting the... Finally, you see a race, nationwide I'm talking, that's actually for a horse that could go a long distance. A lot of times you'll see a Temperance Hill somewhere that would show up, 5/8 on the grass.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right. Like they run, right. I agree. And I should mention Joe Canty trained him as well, Temperance Hill.
So what do you got for the Chandelier?
It's just hard to really make a strong case for anybody outside of You're to Blame and War Story. I mean, G-Zap and Arcanova seem too slow, and Rocketry would just have to improve on dirt to win the race.
Well, here's the Greenwood Cup, yeah.
This is them last time out, Paul.
Listen, you don't want to be usually on the rail at parks, but...
Some days okay.
It depends, yeah. It used to be more of an outside bias, but like, this is what happened last time, and 3 to 5 to 2 to 1. I don't get it. He was never going by.
Well, he had the lead War Story. Is he a better horse with a target? But is he going to be in front today anyway? Or is Arcanova going to go?
War Story has quietly put together earnings of $2.6 million. Trained by Jorge Navarro, and that was a very gutsy performance. Even though he lost, he fought all the way. It's not like he laid down. He lost by a neck. That was the final margin there, guys.
Doesn't really have that much earnings because, let's just be fair, I mean, 600,000 of it and change is fake earnings from the Pegasus.
Let me ask you a question.
I don't count the Pegasus earnings because they're not earnings. He actually lost $350,000 running in that race. He finished last.
I wish I had 600,000 fake dollars.
No, but he gave $1 million and he got 650 back. He lost 350, so it's not earnings. It shouldn't be counted. But still.
That said, he still has more than the whole field combined, right? By far.
Just because the Jockey Club is recognizing earnings, I wouldn't recognize them.
I understand. Well, I'll leave you alone on your own island.
One of my personal rants.
I understand. And you're if you don't mind, I won't join. I'll stay right where I am if you don't mind with that. The Temperance Hill Invitational. So you have 3 to 5 right now on War Story. What about Rocketry? Look, he's run exclusively on the turf. He is a beautiful horse that has shown some talent. He had that couple of really good efforts, but that one particular race I would like to go back to right now is right here at Belmont Park on the turf course when he takes off and shows quite a bit of talent.
He's a very nice horse. He's never run in the dirt and probably never run in dirt for a reason. The problem I have in betting him is it's not like he's better than these horses on the turf, and he merely needs to be almost as good in the dirt. I believe he's got to improve on the dirt to actually beat the likes of War Story and You're to Blame. What are the chances that he's been a horse that should have been on the dirt all along? I mean, I know Yoshida did it, and he made me look foolish, and that's fine. But for the most part, these horses don't win.
I'm not buying it because here's the deal. When that was a soft turf course, which he likes better, he's a high-headed horse. When you watch him run, he holds his head up high. He doesn't want anything in his face. When he gets some dirt in his face, I don't think he's going to like it, Frank.
Let's go down to the paddock for the Hillendale Paddock Report. Hillendale, of course, the home of McLean's Music. Here's Maggie.
And guys, you brought up great reasons of not to like Rocketry here. And I'm glad you also mentioned Yoshida and how he translated, well, turf to dirt quite easily. Yoshida, just for comparison's sake, I know he's not in this field, obviously, but he's kind of a more solid, well-muscled type of individual, and a lot of times those kind of body types, they translate, they can go either way. Rocketry, on the other hand, who goes out for Jimmy Jerkins, who typically his horses are these big, buff types of colts. Rocketry is on the, I don't want to say slender side, but in relative terms, he is. He's more of a turf horse. He's more angular. He's more narrow-framed. I don't necessarily see him being, as Andy said, he'll have to be better on the main track than what he is on the turf. So I don't know. I don't necessarily see it, as we'll check in with your current favorite in number 5, War Story here. You know, Jorge Navarro stating that he told Kendrick Carmouche last time that he's a horse that doesn't really like horses on the outside of him, and Kendrick kept him outside, which typically at Parks, that's what you want to do, but not the day that the Greenwood Cup was run, in which we saw You're to Blame come up the rail on him, and it was probably not where you wanted to be, out wide for once. And, you know, Navarro's horses, they'll kind of run no matter what I think about them here in the paddock, but I have seen, especially in his coat, War Story just look a bit better. I respect him, and he can obviously win here, but between the two favorites, I would physically here in the paddock have to definitely side with You're to Blame. But a horse that's going to be the complete and rank outsider also comes out of that Greenwood Cup in number 4, G-Zap, a horse I kind of took to when he ran up at Saratoga. And maybe it was the track and the fact that the company's a lot less, but maybe he's a horse who ultimately wants a lot of ground. Couldn't ask a horse to look more just healthy than what G-Zap here today. And Robert Reed, Butch Reed, I don't know, sometimes he takes shots or whatever, but I feel as though this horse has to be doing well for him to put him in this spot here. And 2, he was another horse that raced very wide throughout that Greenwood Cup on the day at Parks where you wanted the rail, Frank.
Thank you very much, Maggie. We will hopefully check back with you when we see the horses on the track for any developments. Horses are in the paddock. When we return, we'll have the post parade for the $200,000 Temperance Hill Invitational.
Switches back to the outside. Exaggerator down to the 16th pole, but Exaggerator has turned the tables. He has won the Preakness. Nice has won the Travers over American Fire. Irish War Cry has won the Wood Memorial. Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Welcome back to Belmont Park Live, brought to you by Claiborne Farm, the home of Run Happy. Winner of the King's Bishop and one of the most dazzling performances all time in that race.
It was a very good horse.
Here's the post parade. Kicks off with Rocketry trying the main track for the first time.
Yeah, he's going to have to improve on the dirt over his turf form, which is pretty solid to win this race. They're taking a shot. Can't blame him.
You can't blame Todd Pletcher for taking the blinkers off. You're to blame. He's come back with back-to-back scores.
Yeah, he won the Greenwood Cup, coming back on War Story, and the blinkers have come off after a bunch of starts with Ty with them on. Maybe that's made the difference.
G-Zap will be taking a shot here for Butch Reed.
He was in the Greenwood Cup. He just didn't really do not much. He was wide the whole way. Robert Reed, by the way, has won the Greenwood Cup before, and he won the Breeders' Cup Marathon when that was a race.
War Story is next in the post parade at 4 to 5.
He's obviously the big dog in this race, and he's trying to avenge his narrow defeat in the Greenwood Cup to You're to Blame. They are the two players.
And here is number 6, Arcanova.
Yeah, 54 to 1, and he wasn't that bad to be behind some of these horses. He's 12 to 1 today. Manny Franco going to look for another one.
Don Little of Centennial Farms is standing by with Maggie to talk about this boy right here.
That's right, here with Don Little from Centennial Farms. And Don, taking a little shot here with Rocketry, trying him on the dirt for the first time. Obviously, what was the thought process behind that with you and Jimmy?
Well, Jimmy was the one that really came up with the idea, but I always sort of was hoping he would do this because, of course, he's beat by Hard Spun, who we had Wicked Strong, and that's sort of what I wrote down in my catalog page when we saw him at the yearling sale. I wrote Wicked too, and you know, he trains really well over it, and I saw him breeze one time at Saratoga and was really impressed. And you know, Jimmy always said that he wanted to, and I was totally in favor of it. So we're going to give it a shot, and he's been training well over it. So.
Now, you mentioned Wicked Strong. Obviously, he brought great memories here running around New York. Where is he standing, and when can we see his babies, possibly?
Well, he's at Spendthrift. His stud fee's $10,000. He actually bred 190 mares in his first year. His yearling sold for the first time this year. I'd like to know where they are because we didn't see a lot of them, but 4 or 5 brought over 100,000, and they like what they see so far, and we'll hope for the best.
All right, Tom, we're wishing the best for you here with Rocketry as well in this Temperance Hill.
Great. Hope we'll talk later.
Exactly. I like that attitude, guys.
If you don't expect to win, you usually won't. If you're a boxer and you put your hands up, chances are you're about to get knocked out. We've got some great coverage coming your way, but first let's talk about this $200 new member bonus. Just simply put in the promo code Belmont Live, and you can bet any track, anywhere, anytime, and you can sign up from all across the country. Just go to NYRABets.com.
Yeah, it's real easy. It won't take long. You could probably get it done by this race and get a wager in.
The Arc de Triomphe is coming up, and we have a special show next Sunday, October 7th. Coverage will begin bright and early, 9:30 a.m. Eastern on FS2. How about this? Special guest analyst, Christophe Clement. And there's going to be a transatlantic pick 4 with the Arc, the Prix de l'Opéra, and then the Flower Bowl and the Frisette. Great day of racing.
A little French accent there with Prix de l'Opéra.
Well, guess what? I had Madame Green.
For people not familiar with the Prix de l'Opéra, it's kind of like their Flower Bowl. I mean, in a sense, it's the Philly. If the Phillies aren't going to run now, Enable will obviously try to win back-to-back Arcs. She's coming off of prep on synthetic. Feels like the Arc at this point is kind of wide open and an interesting race. But the Prix de l'Opéra is a very strong race as well. And then you go into our 2 races here. Be kind of a fun play.
I'm going to give a shout out to my 4th grade French teacher, Madame Green, if that's okay with you.
Really? You guys still in touch?
No.
You didn't have a crush
She's
on her,
not following your career?
I liked it so much.
Following David Schwimmer's career more carefully than
yours? You know what
yours?
ended up happening? It was a bad deal because I took French one year, I took Spanish the next year, I learned neither, I was confused, and it was just a waste of time.
What kind of student were you?
I was, it depends. I was like, I needed blinkers.
From poor to horrible?
That was either, there were no C's, let's put it that way. I was either jogging home or in distress. It was one of them. I can tell you one thing. It will not shock our viewers. My PE grades were very poor.
You know what? I like gym. That'll shock our viewers. I enjoy gym class. Well, I was going to school in Saratoga, so we could bet on all our games. We played in gym. We were betting on the games all the time.
I
that
had
kind of
some rough
town.
moments. I thought I was a quarterback. I took a blindside sack once in 8th grade at El Rodeo outside that I fumbled and they scored a touchdown. That was the end of my quarterback career.
Really?
I mean, and the guy who got me was one of my good friends, Tom. And I know it was just building up in him, and he just had a clear path of me. I was looking for someone, and it was ugly. And that was it. Richard Steele came in, waved me off. That was the end of my football career. I knew I should have been an offensive lineman, but I was in denial. Approaching the gate for the Temperance Hill, 1 mile and 5/8. Here are the selections. You're to blame for Paul and Maggie. Andy will go to War Story for Imaginary Stables and Glen Ellis. They've had a very, very productive summer as owners, Imaginary Stables in Glen Ellis. And, of course, Jorge
Who else?
Navarro.
Who do they have?
They have many, many horses.
Oh,
So
okay.
many. I called at least 12 winners for them
Really?
at Monmouth Park.
I like the name. It's a cool name for a stable, Imaginary Stables.
It is a good name. War Story, 6 for 30. About $2 million in earnings, according to Andy's report.
Well, those are
Yes,
those
let's
earnings
not
are
go there
ridiculous. But yeah, listen, he's been a very good horse. He's won at Belmont Park, going 1.5 miles in the Brooklyn, so he has that experience over the track. He's run well here, and he just sort of, you do have to wonder, that race was poor in the Suburban, but that was 1.25 miles, and he ran fine in the Brooklyn. He feels like the horse to beat, but You're to Blame may be coming into his own for Todd Pletcher as well. I think they're fairly evenly matched.
They're going to be first and second around the racetrack. The 6 is the only horse that has anything to say with them early. So
Let's talk about the 6. We haven't said a word for this Ian Wilkes charge.
Does he get? Can he? My thing is the 5 breaks, right? Do they go to the front end again? I mean, they went so slow last time. Or does You're to Blame? What happens here? Because there's just no pace in this race.
They're really the problem overall with Arcanova, to be honest, is he just doesn't appear to be good enough. I mean, why is he supposed to close a 9-length gap on the top 2? And it's one thing if it's one horse, you have to try to do it because maybe that horse doesn't run his best race and you step forward, but he's got to do it against 2. And it feels like War Story and You're to Blame both have to fail to show up for him to win this race.
And I think a lot of people will think 9 lengths, oh, that's easy to make up in 6 furlongs. No. It's way harder to make up going 1 mile and 5/8, believe me.
4 out of the 5 participants come out of that Greenwood Cup. G-Zap was 60-1. Arcanova was 50-1. War Story was the 3-5 favorite, and You're to Blame won it at 4-1. So there was a big difference in the odds then, and there is one today as well. The only other horse taking money, and he's taking decent money, is Rocketry at 3-1.
Well, you have to, because if he does take to the dirt, he's the only one that can compete with these two, right, Andy?
Absolutely. No, Rocketry is the only horse that conceivably, realistically win this race. I mean, listen, they run the races and weird things happen sometime. And we've seen some shocking results at times. But it's not even like a Discreet Lover, because Discreet Lover actually had races that gave him a chance yesterday. He may have been a big price, but we even talked about him before the race as a horse that was knocking on the door and could get a piece of this. These horses, something goofy has to happen to be effective, whereas Rocketry just has to move forward a little bit in the dirt. We know he likes the distance, and we know he's a talented horse. We're skeptical about him doing it, but it's not, an outrageous possibility.
He took some significant money last time out in the Johns Call. He was 5-2. He just didn't have that turf.
Yeah.
Right. No, I know.
And I think that Jimmy's saying also that he just hasn't shown he's good enough to run against the better turf horse. He doesn't have many options, so he's looking to see if this is another option for him. Why not take a shot?
I think they made
applaud the shot.
I think they made the right
Win or
move.
lose, right.
I've always liked Rocketry. Let's
They're
see
going to
what
come
he
by
can
us
do.
twice, too, by the way.
Here he
It's
is.
kind of
They're
cool.
right.
Started the 8th ball.
Look what happens when you
I like
ride
this.
a huge oval. This is why they call it Big Sandy. The starting gate is far away, and they're going all the way
Not
around.
too
A
many
mile
dirts like this.
and 5/8. Very unique Belmont Park. How's that for you?
Don't say very unique.
I won't say
ever
that
again. Please.
Here's Larry with the call.
They're all in line. They're off in the Temperance Hill. You're to Blame came out well, so too War Story, and War Story will take the lead. You're to Blame on the inside, and Arcanova close up too, and then G-Zap and Rocketry at the back of the pack with a lap to go. War Story and Javier Castellano the leader, with You're to Blame keeping him close company down on the inside. As they make their way toward that first turn, Arcanova is 3 deep into that turn. Now the 3 of them are right together, and G-Zap is 2 lengths off of them, with Rocketry 5 lengths from the pace. Moving into that turn, the opening quarter mile, 24.93 seconds, a decent pace for the distance. And it is War Story in front, the leader by about a length now over Arcanova, while You're to Blame will save ground and sit third on that sweeping turn. And then comes G-Zap back running about 5 lengths from the leader, and Rocketry is 2 lengths off of him, so 7 lengths from top to bottom, as War Story will head to the backstretch in front through a 49.58 half mile. And Arcanova goes with him as they head to the backstretch together, and now they've opened up 5 on You're to Blame. G-Zap is alongside of You're to Blame, and Rocketry is unhurried behind them, 8 lengths from the front as they run up the backstretch. War Story and Arcanova, they're 3/4 of a length apart. They've run 3/4 in 1:13.73 seconds. The pace is honest. It's 7 lengths more back to You're to Blame. G-Zap on the outside, and Rocketry is right in behind them, trailing the field with 9 lengths to make up as they continue up the backstretch. War Story all the way so far. Archinova and Manny Franco pressing this pace, and now they're a length and a half off the lead after a mile in 1:37.9. You're to Blame is being nudged along to go now and is racing 4 lengths from the front. There goes Rocketry. Rocketry and Joel Rosario were moving, and they're moving right now as the field heads around the far turn. War Story's getting pumped on the lead. You're to Blame and Rocketry are coming. And now these 3 get away from Archinova. G-Zap is at the back of the pack. 3 horses across the track. War Story at the rail. You're to Blame between. Rocketry on the outside, and the 3 of them will turn for home in the Temperance Hill together. Rocketry has taken the lead on the outside. You're to Blame is second. On the inside, War Story is given way, and they're coming into the final furlong here. Joel Rosario and Rocketry in front. You're to Blame fights on under John Velasquez on the inside. At the 16th pole, it is Rocketry in the clear. Rocketry is pulling away from You're to Blame. Rocketry wins the Temperance Hill. You're to Blame was second. War Story was third. Archinova was fourth. The final time was 2 minutes 40.18 seconds. Man o' War's 98-year track record has gone down.
Not only did he run on the main track, he sets a track record in doing so. Rocketry from last to first. Great decision from Centennial Farms and Jimmy Jerkins.
I'm guessing the track was a little faster today than it was when Man o' War set a track record. Great call by them. Took a shot. War Story was brutal in here. And Rocketry, he stepped forward in the dirt. Great call by them.
Yeah, he sort of circled his field. I wonder if he caught the 2 a little bit by surprise, Johnny V. But You're to Blame wasn't really into the bit, wasn't really going until Rocketry took off and then started battling and showed his heart. But Rocketry was just too much to handle here deep in the lane, and your third choice will get home.
You're to Blame, I thought, ran a good race. He fought with him around the far turn, but Rocketry just made that huge move. He was able to show the skill that the talent that he's had. He's had talent. He just hasn't been able to push through in some of these races, and he did it this afternoon, and it was a very nice victory.
Nothing really else to say. He ran. War Story, what was his excuse?
He did not run at all. He got away with some easy fractions. Archinova gave him some token pressure, but was able to...
They weren't going that fast on this racetrack. He had not, he was done before the top of the stretch, Paul.
Yeah. And I looked at you guys. I said the one's running, you can tell. And Joel Rosario seems like he keeps getting on these horses that are off to first time on the dirt, and they keep winning.
Yeah.
He sat patiently. This is what Rocketry does. Rocketry has one run to him, and sometimes on these turf races, maybe the pace hasn't been right for him. He just hasn't had the kick. But he has shown the flashes of brilliance in the past.
I'm going to say he ran the best race ever run, Frank. Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you. I think he ran today.
Yeah, I was completely wrong.
Yeah.
Did a good job. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7-2 on the winner. And we will catch up with the winning connections. Jimmy Jerkins strikes yet again. We'll be back.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Cleveland Farm.
The 4-year-old Rocketry in the winner's circle for the Temperance Hill Invitational from last to first under Joel Rosario.
Yeah, son of Hardspun, a smart strike mare, smart farming, and Hardspun did some good running on the dirt. He got on the dirt for Centennial Farms and showed that explosiveness, 9:30.
It's been a work in progress, has Rocketry, and I know social media, they have done a great job promoting him, Centennial Farms. Maggie's going to catch up with trainer Jimmy Jerkins and maybe Don Little for an encore.
That's right. The pressure's on me now to get Don before every race. As we're 2 for 2, Don, you seemed confident, but also a little bit surprised, possibly.
Well, I think I was yelling harder than I've ever yelled down the stretch because we really didn't know.
Yeah.
But we knew, as like I said beforehand, Jimmy had him really right and knew he was training great on the dirt, and we wanted to try it, and it was worth it.
Well worth it, I would say. And Jimmy, possibly one of the best races he's ever run, switching to the dirt for the first time.
Yeah, you know, I didn't think he wasn't a dirt horse when we first started him out in his career. He was so sluggish and slow, but now that he's gotten stronger, a lot stronger, gotten older, and he's really worked very well in the dirt. So, and he always seemed like he got in trouble in the turf races because, you know, he's so big and long, and every time he got stopped, it would take him forever to get going. You know, that's a killer in turf racing. So, and I knew he was, you know, he was long-winded, and as long as if he liked the dirt good enough, he would be tough here.
Dealing with a 5-horse field compared to a 10, 12-horse field, obviously that helps a lot with a horse like him, as you were saying. But, you know, circumstances may have aided it, but how about a 98-year record held by the great man of war going down in flames today by Rocketry?
Yeah, well, I know. The fact that they probably only ran it about 3 times since then doesn't, but still, a track record's a track record.
And you own it now. Job well done here with Rocketry.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys.
Hard not to love Jimmy Jerkins, Andy.
The best. Love Jimmy. Absolutely. I mean, he knows. He knows track records are a function of a lot of things, and frequently they don't have a lot to do with the horse.
It's true.
Here's the Naira Bets Late Pick 5 follow along. Go to NairaBets.com, get your account open. 92,000 up for grabs. A couple of 7-2 shots and a favorite. So we've beaten some favorites along the way. And coming up next, we will have the Miss Grillo. That should actually read races 6 through 10 on that deal. So we have this 9th race coming up, the Miss Grillo, and it's a very exciting moment for some of these youngsters because they're stepping up now. Newspaper of record, 6-5 on David Aragona's morning line. Opens at 7-5, but she's getting some competition for
well, she's
supremacy.
not favored. She's not favored in pick 3s or doubles. The 7 Miss Technicality is favored in both the double and the pick 3, which is the first upset of the Miss Grillo.
Yeah, and the other upset is Varenka. If you watch the replay on Varenka, this horse was running like the wind at the end. Maybe their connections or whoever made the big bet thinking there's some give in the ground, but that horse is taking a lot of money, where there's other horses like Dog Tag in here that I thought had a look. I'm surprised that horse is getting bet.
You know, it's funny, when Chad Brown ran 3 horses in this race, including Lady Eli. Lady Eli was the 3rd choice of those 3 horses. Of course, one for fun.
Here's the great Run Happy, a big sponsor on this show, and Jim McInvale is very excited. I just spoke with him yesterday, day before yesterday, about the babies of Run Happy. They've put some great mares. I'm going to go see Run Happy, as a matter of fact, tomorrow, guys. How's that sound?
Really?
Yes, I am. I will be seeing
jealous.
Run Happy. I'm going to say hello to Warfront while I'm over at Claiborne Farm. But Run Happy's accomplishments that they're most proud of course, he did so drug-free, Lasix-free, and he was never beaten when he was sprinting. He had a tremendous season.
Are you going to bring us some Claiborne hats and stuff?
I'm going to have them ship them over. I think they're in the budget for you to get them as many as you want.
Thank you.
Great place. Love Claiborne Farm.
Claiborne Farm's a great spot.
Been there many times.
Let's take a look at the current favorite, Newspaper of Record. She's 1 for 1, and she takes the big test today, hoping to stamp a ticket to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. We'll be back.
Eclipse champion Blaine is having a breakout year in 2018. Among the nation's leading sires of stakes horses, his recent top runners include Fault, Maraud, Marley's Freedom, Beyond Blame, and Miss Kentucky. He's also making a name for himself internationally with French Classic winner Singh. And with yearlings bringing up to $350,000, this 3-time Grade 1 winner offers outstanding value. Blaine, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. And
Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a length and a half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
And Lady Eli is coming on the outside. And here's Lady Eli to take over as they come down for the wire. And Lady Eli just takes off in the final 16th. A 4-length winner of the Miss Grillo.
That was 2014. Lady Eli, what a story she brought to racing. And Chad Brown has basically owned the Miss Grillo. But Lady Eli will always have a special place, not only in his heart, but many racing fans. Let's take a look at what Chad has done in this race. The record is incredible.
I mean, he's won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly Turf Sprint, whatever, 4 times. 3 of them won this race, but how about that? 5 times first and second, and 1 time fourth, and when he was fourth, he won the race with Rushing Fall. Remarkable.
He's the man.
Listen, Moran put him on the map. I think a lot of people didn't know who he was in 2008. They really did.
His first year of training.
Yeah, it was his first year. He went on his own, and boom, he won the Breeders' Cup race. And everybody's like, "Who's this Chad Brown?" And like I said yesterday on the show, that for the people that missed it, he's made the Europeans not a lock when it comes to turf races with the 2-year-olds.
Yeah, it's a good point. And Moran Broker made a maiden claiming race at Saratoga as well. And it's true. I think the Europeans are sometimes more scared than they used to be of shipping to America to face because of Chad Brown.
Up next, the Miss Grillo, and we are going to watch Newspaper of Records' smashing debut.
I mean, obviously, the competition may have been somewhat wanting. She handled the turf with give, which is a real feather in her cap for today. But I mean, she just buried this field.
Yeah, she did. I like the way she's carrying herself, too. She's trying even harder. She's reaching out. You could tell that she's just giving more. She gets green there late because she doesn't know what the rider really wants her to do. Do you want me to go or not? Look at her ears. It's all you need to know. I mean, wow, she was in control of that race from start to finish. She's laid nicely. Usually Chad's horses, Chad will admit to you he does not like that trip when they sit like in second or first. He'd rather be covered up. But the stat
I don't think he wanted to get in trouble in that race. I think he just wanted to stay out of trouble.
He just wanted to stay out of trouble. This is a good stat, especially going into maiden winner. Just great at stakes, which is tough to do.
This is a tricky stack. Because it's not the 2-year-old numbers are better. Most of these are older horses, and the success he has had in this race, they've mostly been horses coming off of maiden wins.
He can't, unless he gets a dead heat, he's going to actually lose a race in here because he also sends out Dog Tag number 9, who was very impressive in winning the P.G. Johnson. A very professional performance. She debuted on the main track, was a race originally scheduled for the turf. Tell us about this.
Well, I'm going to ask Paul the question. Who ran a better race? Did Dog Tag or Varenka, the horse who finished second? I think they both ran well, but I'm not sure that Dog Tag ran really better than Varenka did.
No, you could take Varenka out of this race, and you could see Dog Tag got the rail run. Varenka had to go on the outer lane route, and Varenka gets green right here as soon as he got away from other horses, or she got away. She's running at Dog Tag. Was she ever getting there? No, but I think the public is thinking, okay, Varenka went a little bit wider, probably got a little bit better number when it comes to the people that like those numbers.
Varenka gets Lasix today, too, so she likely bled in that race. Miss Technicality is a horse that has to be taken very seriously in here. Daughter of Gio Ponte, broke her maiden July 6th in her debut at Belmont Park, and then she went to Kentucky Downs. So it's not only that she went there, but it's a young horse now facing winners for the first time, and did she ever erupt?
She did. Now, she didn't break that sharply. She had a smidgen of trouble early, and she crushed the field. I mean, we don't really know who is behind Newspaper Record.
Not much.
We actually know who is behind Miss Technicality. They'll probably be for sale in claiming races pretty soon. But Miss Technicality, as Frank said, she just destroyed them. She's a real runner. You're not getting 7-2 on her. She may well be favored at post time. I don't think she should be, but there's a very high likelihood she will be.
I understand. You're saying that based upon multi-race wagers.
Yeah, I'm happy to bet you. I'm happy to bet you she's favored.
You say Miss Technicality is favored here?
Yeah.
You're in.
Okay.
You're in. Let's go to Maggie for a paddock report brought to you by Hillendale. Maggie, it's got to go from 7-2 under this 6-5.
That's never happened.
Yeah, it's not going to happen
never
here.
Happened.
But that's our argument. At least Andy finally got an argument going. It's his. He was like he had blinkers on. Maggie, tell us what's going on down there.
Frank, I'd actually be apt to agree with you. I mean, aren't people going to think about Chad and how he's won this race 6 times, including the last 5 of the last 6 runnings as well? As we'll start with his runner in here. That's number 6, Newspaper of Record. Look, this is a horse that he bought out of Europe. She has a very, very much a European look to her. So automatically, I'm not going to be enthralled with her physically, but I will say that coming back here, she's far more defined. She's more athletic looking than what she was in her first start. And furthermore, you watch that first start and it was listed as a yielding course. And once again, she's facing similar types of conditions here. She was not kicking up anything. And that's just proving a horse who's floating over the ground, whereas the others ultimately struggled, and really kind of speaks of her ability. So I think it's a great matchup, though, as we turn our attention to I'm with Frank and thinking that Miss Technicality might be the second choice. We'll see, though. Andy's usually right about these things. But she has matured quite nicely. I haven't seen her since her debut, going back to July here at Belmont. Thing with her is, well, her pedigree says, yeah, she should be fine going longer. Given her physical and her kind of demeanor, I'm wondering how far she absolutely wants to go. You watch that mile race at Kentucky Downs. She was a bit rank. Julian did a great job getting her to settle, and she was just much the best. But that is relative to her competition, too, who they weren't much in there. So she has gotten a little bit warm here, a little bit unnerved. So Miss Technicality is one that I will watch going forward and on the track. There are 2 stretch-out horses I want to discuss, one being number 2, Stellar Agent, who does get Lasix after a blowout win, going the 5.5 up at Saratoga, and she's one that I thought would definitely want and thrive off of more ground. She gets it here today. Getting a little bit hyped up here. Don't love to see that, but that's the first time she did it. She's done it here. But just a big, elegant filly with this big walk, and I think she's one that, as a price, should be able to get a piece of this here for Jorge Abreu. Moving on to a big price. That's number 4, Kitty's Legacy. Now, she's still a maiden, but she is a horse that, despite being a New York bred, doesn't look like she belongs with New York breds. This is a big powerful looking filly. And I say that with the greatest respect to New York breds, absolutely. But she fits with this field is what I'm trying to say. And she wants more ground. She gets it here today. I like what I see from this Bruce Levine filly, and she's one that's going to be double-digit odds, rightfully so, but I will be apt to say that she could run well in this spot, Frank.
Thank you very much. Keep an eye on those youngsters out there because they could have a little temperament going toward the starting gate in just some of their second career starts in here, others making their third and fourth. A very interesting race here because it's difficult to win first time out. We know that. It's even more so, I think, going a route of ground on the grass. But now, for the favorite, at this point, at least in the Wagering newspaper of record, she has to face other more accomplished individuals.
Right. I mean, especially, Miss Technicality has the experience, and Varenka as well as Dog Tag both had 2 starts, though Dog Tag only had 1 on turf. Newspaper record's the worst to beat, I think. And the only reason I'm talking about the odds is you look at multis, and over time, 90 to 95% of the time when one horse is favored over another in the multi-race bets, they end up being favored on the board. And we always see it. A huge percentage of the money comes in at the end. I just don't want people to be confused and say, I bet on the 7 horse and she was 3-1 with 3 minutes to go. How come she ended up being favored? Well, you have to look at those multi-race bets to have an idea of what your horse's odds are going to be towards the end. And that's all we're pointing out.
And I'm not disputing that. What I'm saying is I believe in this case.
Actually. Disputing that.
Well, because you're making it. Here's the problem with it, Andy.
It's 95% of the time, Frank.
There's no chance it's 95% of the time.
Yes,
that's ludicrous.
Frank, I'm here every day looking at it every day.
Every day you're telling me that 9 out of 10 races when a horse is favored in the thing.
Absolutely.
Well, this is going to be. Guess what? It's due for the 10%.
More.
But
no, it's
look,
not.
I'm saying I believe they're going to get close in the wagering.
They clearly are going to get close.
They're going to get close. But here's the
7.
problem I have with it. The issue I have with it is. You make this statement as though it's just a done deal.
Well, what I'm saying
it's not a done
I'm
deal.
saying 1 is 6-5 and 1 is 7-2, and I think it's important that people understand that their odds are going to get very close together by post time. I don't want them to think there's some sort of hooey or voodoo going on. The multi-race bets, they're the ones that really matter, not the odds when there's 15 to 20% of the final pool has been bet.
But who's to say that someone at the last minute isn't going to bet $20,000 on a horse and make them the favorite?
Frank, crazy things can always happen, but over time, with consistency, when a horse is favored in the double and pick 3s, that horse is favored with incredible consistency.
Saved by the Bugle. This post parade is brought to you by OCD Pellets. Build stronger bone with their 2-in-1 bone and joint supplement. For more information, visit OCDPellets.com. We kick off the post parade with number 2 Stellar Agent gets Lasix after a victory in her debut.
Yeah, and she was good. And she's a filly by More Than Ready, and she should stretch out okay to this mile and 16th.
No More Fast Women will be one of the big prices in here, 51-1.
Yes, looks like a long shot on paper.
It was a brutal beat if you had Kitty's Legacy in her debut. She lunged late, but just missed by a head.
Yeah, she did. She didn't break all that great either. She could improve here at 19-1. She's a little frisky there.
Number 5 is Varenka in the Augustin Stable Silks. That represents nothing short of class.
She's a horse that gets Lasix for the first time, and, maybe that'll help her move forward. She ran well enough last time. She has to be considered a player.
David Aragona made newspaper of record 6-5 on his morning line. That's what you see right now on the board.
Rightfully so. She was giant first time out, and if she just runs that same race or improves a little bit more, she's the one to beat.
Very professional performances in both her starts for number 7, Miss Technicality, a major player.
Yeah, she ran well last time. She beat nobody, but she was impressive doing it, and she's a horse that could have a real future. She's the top 2 in here are Miss Technicality, newspaper record.
Virginia Eloise will try the turf for the first time. I know one thing, her jockey can certainly ride on the grass.
Yeah, and that's Jersey Joe Bravo, and Todd Pletcher takes this one out of the spin away in the Adirondack, so a lot of experience at least.
Here's Dog Tag, a gray daughter of Warfront, who was very nice in winning the P.G. Johnson.
The other one for Chad Brown is a very generous price at 7-1 right now.
And on the outside is Decorated Ace, coming off a win in the sorority, which was run on the grass this year at Monmouth Park.
Well, someone's going to need a Decorated Ace coming up here as the playoffs are reaching full force in the MLB. This one is going to need a lot of help. Although Mike Deeney's horses have run well at Saratoga in here, but I don't know about this one at 64-1.
This chestnut daughter of Gio Ponte is looking to become perfect in 3 starts. Her name is Miss Technicality. She'll be showing up at the starting gate in a few minutes for the Miss Grillo. Don't go away.
How do New York breds perform? They win in world-class company. From Grade 1 races in Dubai, where New York sired, New York bred Mind Your Biscuits won the Golden Shaheen for a second time, to Belmont adding to his status as the richest New York bred with a close second in the Met Mile. The Belmont Festival saw 2 more New York breds become millionaires. 4-star Crook in the New York Stakes and world record-setter Disco Partner with a repeat victory in the Jaipur. New York breds, get with the program.
Welcome back. You're watching Belmont Park Live on a beautiful autumn day here in the Big Apple. And on the track, we see the horses for today's Grade 3 Miss Grillo Stakes. Sorry, Grade 2. Whoops. As we will take a look here at number 7, Miss Technicality. Now, I do not like this behavior. She has been very keen. She's been getting more and more wound up as time has gone on before going into the gate. And for me, that does not speak of a horse who is really ready to get the longest distance of her career so far. She handled it easily at Kentucky Downs. I get it. But I still really question the overall quality of that field. She's facing another world of horses here today. We see Joel Rosario trying his best to calm her down, but I don't love this. Do not like it at all. As number 9, Dog Tag, you know, she's the other Chad Brown horse, and she's probably not as good as her stablemate in newspaper record, but she's also a stakes winner, winning the PG Johnson last time over a course that was labeled as yielding, so she handles it. I love the way she was moving over the track here, guys, in the warm-up. I don't love her, but I think, you know, she could be the other horse in here.
Thank you very much, Maggie. Dave Grenning of the Daily Racing Forum had a chance to visit with Chad Brown, and Chad said that these two worked together and that Dog Tag held her own against newspaper of record, and that, quote, Chad said, from the PG Johnson, I think she's moved forward. She looks stronger to me. Is that strong enough to beat the other two, Andy?
I don't know. You know, it's hard to say. Listen, she got it done, and we know that she beat a reasonably good horse last time in Varenka, so I don't think it's impossible that she's okay. You know, we'll see. Newspaper Record is facing much tougher horses. I think one thing that helps Newspaper Record is that she ran well on a course with Given It, and that's really important because a lot of horses are not handling the going out here, and we know that she's handled it before.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's a very good point, and there is some give, definitely some give.
She might be favored, by the way. It's going to be a lot
Claiborne
closer
Farm
now,
brings
though.
you this tremendous show with Andy Serling, Paul LaDuca, Maggie Wolfendale, and Larry Coleman. I'm Frank Miramati. Horses are approaching the gate for our featured event this afternoon, the Grade 2 Miss Grillo. There is a look at number 8, Virginia Eloise, who takes a shot on the grass this afternoon.
Well, she's slow on the dirt, so Todd's going to see what she can do on the turf. It's a total stab. She doesn't really have the pedigree to move forward on turf. It's all dirt.
What did you think of Stellar Agent's debut? She won convincingly, 3.5 lengths.
Good. Now she's got to go from 5.5 to 8.5 furlongs. So that's a big switch. But I thought she ran very visually impressive in that race.
Yeah, I thought that she was too. She hit the lead early in that race, and I think got a little lost out in front. So if you're looking for maybe a horse at 9-1, not a bad price for at least getting the Super or try.
Loading into the gate for our featured event. The first two have gone in. Here's Miss Technicality taking up her spot, as well as No More Fast Women. Let's send it up to Larry Comas for the live call of the Miss Grillo.
Virginia Eloise taking her spot in the starting gate, and now Kitty's Legacy will come forward to her spot in stall number 4. Here's Dog Tag moving in. Varenka will be second last to load, and Decorated Ace will complete the line 4-5 on Newspaper of Record. As Varenka hesitates just a bit, but steps forward and now goes in. Here's Decorated Ace. They're all in line. They're off in the Miss Grillo. It was a good start for Stellar Agent on the inside, who goes out to lead them. Newspaper of Record now moves up alongside and will take over. And Newspaper of Record, the favorite, right to the front as they head toward the backstretch. Up into second position now is Kitty's Legacy. Stellar Agent back to third. Decorated Ace is fourth on the outside. Dog Tag is next. Varenka tucks in and races 4.5 lengths off the lead. Had to steady in traffic a bit, though. And then on the outside is Miss Technicality. They're followed by Virginia Eloise and No More Fast Women. 23.44 was the first quarter as they head up the backstretch. Newspaper of Record on top by 1.5 lengths. Kitty's Legacy on the outside of Stellar Agent heads apart second and third. Decorated Ace on the outside is fourth. Dog Tag fifth between horses. Varenka sixth and against the rail 5 lengths from the front. Miss Technicality's got 7 lengths to gain. And then it's No More Fast Women and Virginia Eloise at the back of the pack. 48.26 the half for the front-running favorite Newspaper of Record, who heads into the far turn in the Miss Grillo with a length lead. Kitty's Legacy on the outside second. Stellar Agent is third. Dog Tag is moving up fourth. Miss Technicality is coming up on the far outside. Just went by Decorated Ace. It was within 3 lengths of the lead, but 4 wide on the turn. Varenka is saving all the ground. They're coming to the top of the stretch. Newspaper of Record turns for home in control. The main threat on the outside, Miss Technicality, is trying to close the gap. And they're followed by Dog Tag in third. But now Newspaper of Record is set down in the final furlong, and she takes off. Oh, she's pouring it on late. This is one fine filly. Newspaper of Record. She won it by 8. Varenka came through on the inside for a second. Stellar Agent and Dog Tag.
She's a superstar. Newspaper of Record is now a perfect 2 for 2. Irad Ortiz was sitting chilly, Andy, and we know why.
This was a joke. I mean, she was not walking on the front end. When you see that 23.44, I mean, she was moving up front early. They got in the stretch. They got most confidence. He asked her, and she just exploded. And Frank, by the way, she was favored.
She was favored, and you talk about gallop out. She's galloping out even further in front of the field. Newspaper
she's
of
at
Record.
Belrose by now.
What an incredible performance. Finishing second there was number 5, Varenka, who ran well in defeat, but was no match. It was a one-horse race. Stellar Agent third, Dog Tag fourth, 6-5-2-9, guys.
Yeah, it's Stellar Agent. And the 7, Miss Technicality, tried to make a move on the far outside and made a menacing move, but just sort of stopped. And Varenka, the early money was the right money. I thought ran a good second. Was steadied in the backside. Was the best, second best horse by far. But wow, this is a special kind of filly right here. And you know, and this is a horse I don't think that needs the lead. But look at the way she just lowers down in levels.
I know. This was incredible. And they were not walking. It's not like she put on these 25-50 and then she was able to sort of run away by 3. This is an exciting racehorse. Wow.
There's Chad Brown. I talked to him at Saratoga. I asked him why he always looks so serious. He said it's because he's always thinking.
He is a man. He's always thinking, and he's been very high in this horse. And, of course, he went over to Tattersall last year, and he bought that horse. And the way she's running, you have to wonder when other people are going to head over to Tattersall to buy some horses because they didn't even pay $300,000 for her, I don't think.
But they didn't waste. Here's the thing that's impressive about her. She went 23-2.
Right.
In hand over a yielding turf course, and then was able just to settle easily. You know what I mean?
She went like basically 12-second quarters the whole way around.
Yeah, what's scary is her natural speed. That's what's scary.
That's the biggest weapon in horse racing. When you have that and don't have to use it, who knows what the future holds for Newspaper of Record? But you're looking at the Breeders' Cup Juvenile filly
probably
favorite right there.
Yep.
We will watch her gallop back, and we will see her in the winner's circle soon. Her name is Newspaper of Record, the Irish-bred filly. Spectacular in victory this afternoon.
Once again, among the world's leading sires of stakes horses and graded stakes horses, Warfront has sired 8 champions and 8 millionaires. Recent Grade 1 winners include European champion U.S. Navy Flag and Lancaster Bomber, plus an ever-growing list of 2018 graded stakes winners. In the sales ring, his yearlings continue to bring prices well over $1 million. International Super Sire Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with NyraBets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or NyraBets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a length and a half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200.
Dramatic finish.
Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NyraBets.com.
You need a thesaurus to find some new adjectives to describe newspaper of record.
I mean, you don't want to go overboard in these horses, but if she stays sound, it's going to take some kind of European monster to beat her.
I'm with Andy there because she showed twice now over a yielding turf course, and with her speed, I would think a faster turf course she could be better because she would be able to go faster on the front end, which could be scary, and that's why she paid $4. Varenka ran a winning race running second in this race, but it was just no match.
Exacta comes back $13.90 for a buck. Stellar Agent rounds out the try, but the Klarovich stable's very excited right now.
I would think so. This is a daughter of Luke de Vega. And there you see, or Irad Ortiz Jr. saying, yeah, I just sat aboard that horse, and we just went really fast.
Andy, I know you're good friends with the owner here. He has to be a happy camper right about now.
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, he's very happy. I mean, it's exciting to have a horse like this. I mean, you buy horses, and obviously you have a lot more disappointments and successes, but you always kind of hope you get that kind of special racehorse, and she gives the indication of being a special horse.
Late pick 5 follow along, and we've had 2 9-2 shots, 6-5. And an even money going into the 10th and final on the program.
You'd be surprised that the worst pick 5 you can get is to the $527, and it goes up from there. So even though you get favorites,
we blew it.
And we didn't have Rocketry, which was the wrong move. But the pick 6 is not that bad either, considering what's come in.
Don't forget that we have a special show next Sunday, guys, as we take a look at the winning connections, posing for pictures. That will be the Arc de Triomphe coverage beginning here at 9:30 Eastern on FS2. And you can also watch today's 10th race to close out your NyraBets Pick 5 on the NyraBets app. You can go ahead and visit the App Store for that. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure working with you. Certainly an honor for me to come in as a pinch hitter.
For us to be here with you. Are you kidding me? For you to deign to lower yourself to work with Paul. Are you kidding me?
Listen, I had to sit next to this guy all summer.
To get you. Right, I agree. It's been a pleasure.
Good stuff. Really a pleasure working with you guys. And thanks to our producers and directors and the entire team. It was all about newspaper of record. Jogging home in just an amazing performance. We'll see her in the Breeders' Cup. For Andy Serling, Paul LaDuca, Maggie Wolfendale, I'm Frank Miramati. Good night, everyone.